Hey honeys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be talking about the Impractical Jokers cruise. So I actually already have a video about this on my channel, so that will be linked in the description box down below. Pretty much my boyfriend and I, who both went on the Impractical Jokers cruise this year, which was held in February, talked about just our review, kind of how the whole rundown of our experience was with actually like being on the cruise and such. Obviously, we can't say exactly how the cruise is going to be run this year, but we just kind of gave what our experience was and how we felt about that. So I realized though that there were some things that I didn't touch on, and some people did approach me with further questions. So I figured I would just go ahead and make another video talking about the cruise so that I can touch base on some of the other aspects of it and kind of just answer the questions that some other people gave me. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Alright, so when I was deciding to go on the cruise, the biggest appeal to me was the fact that the guys were going to be there. I mean, it was just the whole idea of the intimacy of the cruise, getting to spend 4 or 5 days with these guys that you watch on TV. I mean, in my opinion, that's the biggest selling point. It's not just an Impractical Jokers themed cruise. Of course, they have all different types of things that go along with the show and stuff, but it's their cruise. They are on the ship with you, they're spending time with you, and it's a very unique and cool opportunity that you don't really get to experience unless you go on the cruise. So that was, to me, the biggest appeal. It was what I was most looking forward to. I just kept saying that I think that this is finally going to be the time that we get to meet the guys, because, I mean, there's not that many people on the cruise and you're with them for 5 days, so the odds are pretty good that you might have a chance of getting to meet them. So when I went on the cruise, I had that mindset and I was very set on getting to be able to meet the guys. Now, a lot of questions that I got regarding the cruise experience that I believe I did not touch on in my last review video about the cruise was, how were the crowds, and were there ways to meet the guys? How were the shows? Could you actually be involved with a lot of different things, all of that. So that's mainly what I'm going to be touching base on here. And the answer to all of those questions is yes, you have a very good chance of being involved, being able to enjoy the shows, and also getting to meet the guys. Chandler and I were very determined to do as much as we could while we were on the cruise. We wanted to go to as many of the shows as we could. We wanted to be involved in as many of the activities as we could. And we were definitely on a mission to meet the guys. So we had that mindset that we know we wanted to accomplish that, and we set out to do that, and believe me, it was very possible. We did pretty much everything that you could possibly do. Of course, there were some times where things were going on at the same time, so you had to kind of pick which one you would rather do, but whatever we ended up doing, we had a very good time at, and we most certainly enjoyed ourselves and the experience. So as far as the actual shows go, the biggest difference between this cruise and the previous ones were that in the past, there were different shows. I believe there was like 3 or 4 different shows of the Tenderloins, like where they put on their own show, like an hour show. And when you booked your cruise, you got to pick which show you wanted to go to, and you also got to pick your seats. So Chandler and I ended up getting front row seats for the show that we were picking. And that was amazing. We were literally right in the front, and it was awesome because we were literally right there. So that was really, really cool. And then there were, of course, other shows that other people picked to go to. Now with this new, like the most recent cruise that is going to be taking place, they are only going to be doing one show, and it is a general admission show. So I would say that that is going to be a little bit more difficult to have an intimate experience at the show, but you have to keep in mind that even though the guys are working and this is their cruise and they're there to entertain and be there for us, they're also trying to enjoy themselves, and they're working for 5 days straight, essentially kind of without a break when you really think about it. I mean, they're constantly entertaining. Even when they're not on stage, if people are running into them, they're asking for pictures, they're constantly on, you know, on screen. So, not on screen, but you know what I mean. They're constantly working. And so that's very important to keep in mind. And I think that this is a really good way for them to not feel as overwhelmed. So they're only having to do this one show now. And of course, they still do other things. So they're still doing podcasts and all these other activities. And if you go on the cruise website, you can see all of the different things that they'll be doing. But that is something to just keep in mind. And I think it's a better way for them to not feel as overwhelmed, but it might be a little bit harder to have an intimate experience during that showtime. Now, that's not to say that for the rest of the shows that you are not going to be able to have an intimate kind of close-up one-on-one experience with the guys. I went, like I said, to as many of the activities and shows as I could, and at the podcasts, Chandler and I always ended up getting really amazing seats. I would say we always ended up having a seat that was no further than 10 rows back from the stage, and we always ended up sitting like dead center. So it was very cool to be able to always have that kind of close experience with whatever show we were at. And even if it wasn't one of the shows that was directly labeled as the guys being the main act, a lot of the times they were there. So when the Elvis impersonator was on, Q was there. For the Space Monkeys podcast, Q and Sal were there, and I think Mur came as well. I forget like all the details, but a lot of times the guys were there. And that's very important to keep in mind. So go to as many of the shows as possible, because that gives you your best chance of getting those unique experiences with the 4 guys. Even if it says that they might not be there or it's not labeled as them being there, a lot of times they are. And that gives you just one more chance to be able to actually interact with them. So as I mentioned, getting to meet the guys on the cruise was something that I was very determined to do, and I got to meet all 4 of the guys. Now, I don't think that you should bombard them or like chase them down or like try and figure out how to get to their room. Like, please don't be a creep. Like, don't do that, please. But just keep in mind that you are on the cruise with them, and there are very many ways and chances for you to get to meet them. So just keep your eyes open for them, just kind of be interactive and get involved, and that'll give you your best chances to get to meet them. So both Q and Sal, Chandler and I met after a show. We met them at separate shows, but they were both just after shows. I think they were like after podcasts or something. And we got to meet both of them. They came down off stage and hung around for about 10-15 minutes and took pictures with as many people as they could. So as soon as we saw that that was happening, we just like kind of jumped right in line. And we did feel a little bad about doing that, I have to admit. But it was a good way, and they said that they would just meet as many as they could, and they just took pictures with most of the people that were there. I don't really think they missed anyone, but yeah, that was really amazing. And so if you are going to a show, don't just hop on out of there right away. Stay for a couple minutes. You never know, maybe one of the guys will come down. It's not always that they're gonna do this. You know, I just got lucky to be at both shows where Sal and Q came off stage and met some people, but it was only one show each for the ones I was at least, where they did that. So just, you know, try to go to a lot of shows. Again, I'm going to keep reiterating these same things, but that really is your best way. If you go to a lot of the shows, you're going to be more likely to have the opportunity of seeing one of them meet people if they are going to be doing that. And then as far as Joe goes, he was meeting people on the very first day of the cruise right out on the deck. So that is where we met Joe. And then Mur, we actually met, he was in the bathroom and he walked out of the bathroom and we met Mur there. So that was kind of funny. It was just us 3 in the hallway, and Chandler and I were just like walking, and all of a sudden I heard him say, "Hey Mur," and I looked and I was like, "What?" And Mur was just walking out of the bathroom. He was like, "Hey guys, you enjoying yourselves?" And I think he was like expecting us to ask for a picture, but we didn't, because he was like eating dinner with his family. Like, we saw him like going back to eat dinner with his family, and we were like, we're not gonna, no, it's fine. Like, go do you. Enjoy yourself for like a minute eating dinner. But yeah, so that was our experience with that. When we met Joe, there was a ton of people, so it really was just kind of a very like wait your turn and just hope that he's gonna get the chance to come around to you. And also with Joe, it wasn't a very unique experience. He was just kind of taking pictures with everyone, saying, "Hi, how are you? Enjoy yourself." It was like a 15-second interaction, and then that was it. But it's because there were so many people, and it was when we were first sailing, so everyone was in this one space and everyone was trying to get a picture with him. So that was our experience meeting all 4 of the guys. I did get pictures with all of them except for Mar. Like I said, we didn't ask Mar for pictures, but we did get to meet all of them, and it was very, very cool. Now, as far as crowd levels go, I would say that the biggest crowds are formed on the shows that happen like on the main deck area. So the shows that take place in the like auditorium, like not auditorium, what's that called, like the theaters, you know, like the actual like indoor theaters, they don't get as many people as the outdoor deck show does. And I think it's just probably because it's like a bigger space, there's bars out there, it's kind of more relaxed when you're at one of the shows on the deck as opposed to being like inside the theater. But I would say that if you are trying to see the guys or want more of an interactive experience, not even interactive, because you can be very interactive on the deck as well if you're close up. So like for the shows that happen in the theater, a lot of times they do Q&As and they take, you know, like, I don't know, they talk to you in the theater. It's a smaller space, so you have more of a chance of getting noticed. But the deck like shows, a lot of times it was like karaoke, and they did like the gong show, and they did like an organized Q&A. So like you definitely had chances to be interactive with the guys there as well, but it was more likely for you to be interactive with the guys if you were close to the stage. So like if you were very far or at the bar or something, it was not very likely that the guys were going to like notice you or talk to you. But in the theater, it was kind of more of like an intimate area, so you had more of a chance of one-on-one time with the guys, if that makes sense. I would say overall, the price of the cruise is very worth it for what you actually get. Of course, it is all-inclusive as far as your food goes. Alcoholic beverages and stuff are, of course, separate like prices and everything, which is something that you add on at a different time, but it is like all inclusive for your food and, you know, the time on the island and your room, and all of that is all included in the price that you're paying. And of course, all of the shows and entertainment and being there with the guys. Another good thing I do want to mention is there's 4 of them. It's not like it's just one person, you know? So being that there are 4 of them, if there's 4 different things going on at once and you're unsure of which one you want to go to, a good chance is that a guy is going to be at each one. Or if there's 2 or 3 things going on, there's a good chance that one guy will be at one, 2 guys might be at another, you know what I mean? So whatever thing you're doing, you have a good chance of seeing the guys at some point when you weren't really expecting it. Now, that's not to say that they're going to be at every single event. We went to a lot of comedy showcases where none of the guys were there, and that was totally fine because it was really cool just to get to see new comedians and to have a really fun, enjoyable time just laughing and being around other comedy fans. So that was really awesome. Going into the cruise with the mindset that you're gonna run into the guys like every day, no, it's not like you're always just gonna be walking down the hall and see them like, oh hey, like what's up, how's your day going? No, but do keep in mind that you are on the same cruise with them, like you're on this ship with them. So just be optimistic and keep in mind that you do have a really good chance of meeting them. It's not going to be like you're not just going to be having dinner with them every night, but you have a very good chance of getting to meet all of the guys at least once. And I think if you keep that in mind, you really will make the most of the cruise. Also, I'm a planner personally. I love planning things. I have like 4 different planners for different things in my life. I'm just like crazy, but I love planning things and making lists. I am definitely a list maker. So I looked, like the week before we went on the cruise, I looked at all of the final scheduling, and of course things are subject to change, but I looked at all of the final scheduling that they had, and I wrote out everything that I wanted to do on the cruise. So if there was like multiple things going on at once, I picked which one I would rather do. And then right after that, I figured out what I wanted to do next. And I incorporated like times for dinner and lunch and all of that in there. So that's the best way that I would suggest making sure that you're doing everything you want and having the best chance of being where the guys are. Like I said, a lot of times you're not going to know which events the guys are going to be at. Sorry about that. Don't know what that was, but you don't always know which events the guys are going to be at because it's not always labeled like whatever, Elvis impersonator with special guest Brian Quinn. Like, it's not always labeled as that, but if you go to enough events of other people, it's likely that the guys are going to be at some of them. And like I said, I'm going to keep reiterating these same things because I feel like it's very important to keep in mind that the more things you go to, the better chance you have of meeting the guys. If you're just sitting at your room or sitting at the bar the whole time, you're not going to have a higher chance of getting to meet the guys and interact with them. Go to the shows, do all of the different events that they're going to be doing, and I promise you that you'll have a chance of getting to meet the guys. Believe me. Also, like I've mentioned a million other times as well though, you do have a chance of just kind of spontaneously meeting them. Like, it does happen. I mean, like I said, we saw Murr just coming out of the bathroom, and I think that that was a very cool thing because that was when it was the last night of the cruise, and they were having like the big karaoke show outside, and 90% of the cruise goers were at the karaoke event. And Murr was just having dinner with his family because it was probably one of the quieter moments of the cruise for him. And Chandler and I are just like old and we cannot hang too long. So we came inside way early, and that's when we just like saw Murr and we were like, oh, okay, like that was pretty cool. Also, I met Joey Fatone at the buffet. So, you know, like, you are on the cruise with these people. They are doing the same things as you. They are going to eat. They're going to go to the bathroom. They're going to be playing in the casino. They're going to be going to the bar, all these different things. So just know that you have a very good chance of running into them at places like that. But please, please, I implore you, be respectful of them, be respectful of their space. If you want a picture with them, then politely ask, but if they're eating dinner with their family or something like that, I don't encourage you to interrupt them. Just think about if you were in their position. And of course, like I said, I know that they are working and they are there for our enjoyment. At the end of the day, we are paying to be there and they are being paid to be there. But, you know, just be respectful, like, know the time and place to do certain things. That's why I think the best way to meet them is at the shows and such, because they're kind of in working mode when they're at the shows, you know? And that's kind of why they do more like little photo opportunities and stuff sometimes. That is not a guarantee at all. I got very thankful that Q and Sal both did photos after their shows, because honestly, they were the two I was not expecting to do that at all. But yeah, so just know that you have very good chances of running into the guys, and the money that you're paying for the cruise is very worth it, being all of the entertainment that you get, everything that actually comes with the cruise, as well as all of the chances that you'll actually have to get to meet the guys and have these very unique one-on-one interactive experiences. So I hope that that cleared up some of the questions and concerns that you guys had about the actual intimacy of the cruise and how likely it is to see the guys and meet the guys and have these one-on-one interactions with them. Like I said, it's not a guarantee that you're going to run into the guys. It's not a guarantee that they'll stay after the shows to meet people. Also keep in mind, if they choose not to stay after a show, it's not always just because they don't feel like meeting people. Sometimes they just have another event that they have to get right to. And also, if they do just choose not to stay after, just remember that they are people and they really are working for like 5 days straight, like constantly. You know, like when they're working, you know, on their show or whatever, like the TV show, they do get to go home at some point. On the cruise, like, they don't get to just go home. Yeah, they can go to their room, but they're still on the cruise with all of these people that are fans of theirs. So just keep in mind that if they do that, there's usually a reason behind it. I don't think they're doing it just to be like rude. And yeah, I think that you have a good chance. But like I said, I think my biggest tips to get to meet the guys would be just to get as involved as you can in all of the different activities, go to as many events and shows as you can, and just be interactive and keep your eyes open, because you never know who you may just see walking by, but also to plan out your trip. Like I said, that's something that I did, and it was super helpful because we knew, you know, what we wanted to do next. We knew exactly what our day-to-day was going to look like. And of course, like I said, things are subject to change, and we didn't stick to that like to a T. but it just gave us a very good foundation of what we wanted to do and how we wanted to approach all of the different activities that we were going to be a part of. So that gave us kind of just this very good understanding of like how our day was going to be, and it gave us the most opportunity to see the guys, to be involved in as many things as we could, and to get to meet them like personally, which was awesome. Also, I do want to also throw out there that, like I said, things are subject to change, and something that I want to tell you guys about that is that a lot of times if something does change, they may make like an announcement over like the speaker on the cruise, or you know, they may put up like something on the board like outside of the theater or something, you know what I mean? So like just keep your eyes and ears out so that you are aware of everything that may be going on. Also like pay attention to what the guys are saying, because I remember the one show, like we weren't gonna go to the Elvis impersonator like the one night because I forget like why we weren't gonna go, but at a previous show, Q had said he was going to be there. And so we were like, oh my God, like, let's go. That would be so awesome. It's another chance to see Q. And we ended up getting like second row seats, and Q was up there, and it was just awesome, you know? So that was just like another experience that we had being around one of the guys. So just be mindful, be alert, listen to what's going on, plan out your experience, and try to be as interactive and involved as you can. And I think that that'll give you the best chance of making the most out of the cruise, and also getting as many opportunities as you can to get to meet the guys. So I really hope that this was helpful. Like I said, I hope that this answered some questions that you guys may have had. I will be going on the next cruise, and I am so excited. Like I said, I have no say, like I have no idea how this future cruise is going to be different from the past. Like I said, the only thing that I know is that the show is a little bit different as far as like the Tenderloins show. Now it's just one general admission show. Before it was several different shows and you picked your seating. That's the only thing that I know. Of course, they have new activities and stuff that are on the schedule, but I don't know how anything else is going to be different. So I'm just as excited to find out how it's going to be as everyone else is. But as far as my experience go, that is what I went through on my last cruise. And like I said, I'll link that other video down below so that you guys can see my full review. And I'll also link Chandler, who is my boyfriend, and I's vlog channel. We have several videos up from the cruise itself, so you guys can get like kind of a hands-on look as to how the cruise actually went for us, and you can just kind of see like what we actually did and all of that really great stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching this. Like I said, I really hope that this helped in some way. If you do think of any other questions, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. And yeah, I will see you guys all in the next one. And if you are going on the cruise, then I will see you on the cruise. All right, guys, have a great night, and I will see you guys all on the next one. Bye.